Welcome to Timeless Learning, the channel where we teach in-demand tech skills that never go out of style. Before we jump in, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, so you'll always catch our next big lesson on data, tech, and the future of work. By the way, guys, all the class files and materials are in the description below. If you don't see them there, just check the comments section. I've dropped the links there too.
So before we get started, if you want to use the data that we're using in this video, you can find it in the description on my GitHub. Now, conditional formatting is super simple, and you've most likely used it in Excel before, but you can also use it in Power BI, and let me show you how to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is come over to our Apocalypse store, and we're going to pull up our product name as well as the price. And what we can do is come over here, and we're going to go to price, and it has to be under the columns. So you can't come over here and do this. We're going to come right over here to price. I'm going to right click. And let's go to conditional formatting. And we have background color, font color, icons, and web URL. Let's take a look at background color first. This is most likely the one that we'll look at the most. So we're going to get this pop-up. And I'm going to slide this over. Now, there's a lot of different things we can customize in here. And the first thing I'm going to take a look at is format style. We have the gradient. And what it's going to say is the lowest value will be this color. Highest value will be this color. It'll give us this gradient color scale. And so we'll use that in just a little bit. But we can also create rules, kind of like an if statement. And if it is between this range and this range, we'll give it a color. And if it's between a different range and a different range, we'll give it a different color. So we'll also try that one. And then we have this field value. And this one is one that, honestly, I don't use that much. I've used it maybe once. And what you can do is select a text field like customer. And you can do some summarizations on the first and last, and that is it. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at gradient specifically for not the customer, but we're going to go back to the Apocalypse store, and we're going to do it on the price. Now, what I'm going to do is keep it as a count, because this is what the default is, and we're going to go back and fix it later. But what we want our lowest value to be is this bright green, showing that it's a cheap product, it's easy to purchase. The high value ones are going to be just this shade of red, more expensive. And we'll do it on the count. Now remember, the count is on each of these, and we're not doing a count of how many are sold, we're doing a count of each product. So it's just one per row. So it all should be the same color. Let's take a look. So it is all the same color. But what we really want to show is the actual price, not just the count of the price. So let's go back to conditional formatting. We're going to click the background color again. And this time we're going to change the summarization. Now, you can do sum, you can do average, minimum, maximum. It really doesn't matter for this example. The number is the same regardless of really which one we choose. So we can just choose the minimum. And it's going to choose the minimum of each row, which is the price. So we're just going to select minimum for this example. We'll select OK. And it should correct it accordingly, which means the bright green is the lowest, and it goes all the way up to the highest, which is the red. Now let's go over here to Apocalypse Sales. We'll add in the units sold. And let's move that out a little bit. And I'm doing that on purpose because we're about to look at something within the conditional formatting. So let's go to units sold, and we'll look at the conditional formatting for this one. Now, if you noticed, we now have a new one on here called data bars. Now we're able to see data bars on units sold and not price, because units sold is something like a sum, an average, something that's aggregated. But let's take a look at data bars, because I want to show you how to use this, and then we'll go back to the background color. So for data bars, we are going to take a look at the lowest to the highest value. Again, we're going to go from bright green all the way to this exact red. It's going to be from left to right. And what it's going to show you is if it is a positive number, which all of these are, is going to be a green bar, basically representing the number that you see in here along this line. So let's click OK. And we're going to be able to see the highest numbers. And let's scooch this over quite a bit so you can kind of get a better understanding. And we're going to do it from highest to lowest. So we sold the most multi-tool survival knives at 477. So this entire bar, this row, is entirely filled up, or almost all the way filled up. While as it gets lower, and as we sell only 182 solar battery flashlights, the bar is going to represent that and show that. Now, I'm about to completely mess up this visualization on purpose because it's about to get very messy, to show you that you can do a little bit too much. It is possible. What we're going to do is we're going to go right over here to this background color units sold, and instead of gradient, let's look at rules. Now, with the price, we just did a gradient scale, but we can do basically groups of these and say if a number is greater to or equal than this number, then it's going to be a certain color. And then if it's in a different range, we can give it a different color. So we're going to say if it's greater than or equal to 0, and we're going to say number, not percent. And if it's less than 266, because we have 265 right here, let's make it a nice like gold, a beautiful, lovely mustard gold. Just great. Now we're going to say if it's greater than or equal to, we'll do 266, because this says less than 266, so it should be greater than or equal to 266 number. And if it is less than, we'll say 500. Now we want to do this one, and we'll give it, let's do like a peach. And we'll click OK. And now we have another conditional formatting on top of that that can give us more information. Now, again, you should not do this. It's just too many. Now let's go one step further and make it even more ridiculous and show you one more thing before I show you how you may actually want to use this. Let's go back to units sold. We're going to right click, go to conditional formatting, and you can do something called icons. Font color is the exact same thing as background color, except it changes the font, and so I'm not really going to look into that one. Icons are very simple, extremely similar to Excel and how you've seen them, and the rules that you can apply to them are basically the same as if you're doing like a gradient. And it's these if statements that we saw before. Now it auto gives us this right here, which basically says 0 to 33%, 33 to 67, 67 to 100. If it's in the bottom 3%, it gives us this red, the middle is yellow, and the top is green. So we can go through and change all of this, but honestly, this looks pretty good. So let's click on it. And so the ones that are our least sellers are these red ones right here, and the top sellers are up here. Now, this is just based on units sold, and this looks absolutely terrible. So let's kind of take this exact information, but make it a little bit better. So we're going to create a new visualization, or at least a new table. So let's click on product name, and we'll take the price, units sold, and revenue. And what I think makes the most sense for looking at revenue is these data bars right here. But there's only one problem. I can't do that because it's not summarized like units sold was. But what I can do is to get those data bars is I can come right down here, instead of saying don't summarize, I can summarize it, and I can just click the sum. So it now is summarized. It's the exact same number, but if I right click on here at sum of revenue, and I go to conditional formatting, I can now use those data bars. And so we're going to use those data bars, and we're going to say for the lowest value and the highest value, and let's just make it a nice, maybe a darker green. I don't want it to, that's hideous. Let's make it this color right here, a nice dark green. And there's no negatives, so it doesn't really matter. We're going to go left to right, and you can show the bar only, but we're going to keep it because I want to see it. And we're going to go just like this. We're going to order. And this is pretty telling. Honestly, I did not think the weatherproof jackets were performing so well, but I mean, they are by far our #1 seller. So, you know, our weatherproof jackets, multi-tool survival knives, and the nylon rope are outperforming all of our other products. So those might be the ones that I focus on the most, while duct tape, the N95 masks, and waterproof matches, I mean, those are garbage. So I might be looking to replace those in the near future with some other items that might sell a little bit better. So that's how you use conditional formatting, and it's actually pretty useful. There are a lot of times where I've done something like this in an actual visualization for work, and it looks something like this. It just depends on what you're visualizing, but this is very much a simple thing that you can do to just add a little bit more information and actual visuals to this little chart or table that you're going to create. Sometimes it's just better to have these simple visualizations on this table rather than just having the numbers themselves. Makes it a little bit more easy to read and understand. So again, I hope that this was helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and check out all my other videos on Power BI, and I'll see you in the next video.
Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please like, comment, and share this video with someone who's learning too. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you never miss another skill-packed lesson from Timeless Learning. Remember, the best investment you can make is in your own knowledge. Keep learning, because growth is timeless.